Welcome to Get on the Ark. My name is Darren Conrad, your host. For those of you who don't know who we are, this show is about how God is doing extraordinary and miraculous things in ordinary people's lives. There's a storm coming, a spiritual storm with dark days ahead for all of humanity. And just as God warned Noah to build an ark to save his family from the coming flood, all across the globe, God is calling his people out of darkness and out of complacency and into a relationship with Jesus to save us from the storm that is coming to our generation. So welcome to Get on the Ark. Well, it is an honor to have Brett Miller here with me today. Welcome, Brett.
What's up, Darren? How you doing, buddy? I love that intro. I talk about the Ark a lot when I in my day-to-day. So cool. Glad to be here. Thank you.
Yeah, well, just like in the days of Noah, so is the second coming of man. We're living it. So tell us, And we met. Did we meet at the Reawaken or?
Yeah, we met during the tour in the beginning. I can't remember what state even. Yeah. And then crossed paths along the way, and then I just saw you at the reunion.
Yeah, man.
Where we can all celebrate that nothing got done.
Yeah.
Nothing happened that we voted for. Yay!
Yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit about your journey. I know you were in Hollywood and you were very successful filmmaker and
yeah, man. So I grew up in a small town in the East Coast. My dad was like Lutheran, loose Lutheran, and my mom was Unitarian. So I was raised in a Unitarian church, which turns out that's demon worship and Satanism. I didn't realize that at the time. I don't think my mom did either. She was all into like the Wiccan women's groups and all that stuff. But I have since fled that church many, many years ago, but have come around after an experience I had. But yeah, I grew up in a small town, then I joined the military, joined the Marine Corps. And I served for the fallen angels, apparently, which I find out after reading Book of Enoch, that all manners of war and weapons of war, magic and potions and mysticism was given to man, not by Jesus, God, or Moses, but by the fallen angels. Therefore, anytime you pick up a weapon of war, you are fighting for Satan. But anyway, I did that for 10 years. And then I got out, and then I moved to Hollywood and lived in Hollywood. So I did all the Babylonian horrible stuff. Basically. And I didn't. I never sold my soul. I always say I never sold my soul or my whole for a role. And I certainly had an opportunity. I had many people that offered me shows on ABC. I was offered a career at Disney for a guy, the head of talent and acquisition. He's still there, actually. I won't say his name on your show just to protect you from Disney's team of voracious lawyers. But yeah, he basically was undoing his pants, telling me that I could have a full-on career if I just, swallowed my pride, so to speak. And, I didn't. I never did anything. I never gave my body over. I never drank children's blood or worshiped the devil because I never went to the back room. And there was a lot of parties where a lot of stuff happens in the back rooms. And everybody wants to get into the back room. But once you get into the back room and you see what's happening, you realize that this is so dark and so evil and so demonic that you really just don't, it just feels bad. But anyway, I did that for 18 years, 20 years in LA. And then COVID came along and, I was in Los Angeles. So it was like, hey, well, I'm going to die here because I'm in a city. But, after 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 2 weeks and 2 weeks and the spread didn't slow or whatever, I realized that it was just me and the homeless out in the town because I didn't stay home. And I was like, this guy's like licking off the sidewalk but somehow everyone in their house is supposed to die of this pandemic, this plague. So I kind of called BS right away. But at the same time, my father was tricked by the medical industry. He's taking a bunch of shots, fell down went down the cancer road, full of parasites. And then they eventually murdered him in the hospital with remdesivir. They put him down like a dog. So my flight landed. I had a suitcase. Anyway, so as COVID was going on in LA, I decided to pack everything up. Everything was shutting down. I didn't believe it. My father was getting sick. So I was like, hey, I'm going to go and try to take care of you. So I packed up everything I had, sold all my belongings basically, and I was going to move back east and take care of him. And he was murdered 15 minutes before my flight landed. So after that, one of the last things he said to me was, "Go be closer to your son." My kid was in the middle of the country at the time, and so instead of going back to LA and getting back into it, I was kind of just like, all right, I'm just going to go and find a new path. And it's funny, at the time I was reading this, I moved, and was being a dad and I was washing dishes. I was like working like side hustle. I had a bunch of money saved, but I didn't want to like spend it all right away. I didn't really know what to do. I basically, my father was dead, my career was dead, the industry, all of my forms of income were killed. The guy that I was working with on selling an episode, he was, we were talking about $10 million to do this episode. He had a doctor's appointment on Thursday. His assistant called and said, "Hey, can we reschedule to Friday?" I said, "Yeah, no problem." He never made it. They murdered him in the hospital. He went home sick from the doctor's office after getting and he died that night, and they killed him. So my career was dead. My revenue was dead. My income, everything, my father, my family, my everything, and my belief in the nation, like my belief in the country, everything was just falling apart. So I moved, and I just kind of spent some time. I was reading this red-backed book. It was a hard book. I have it. I bound it, and it's bound and put away, not in here, somewhere else. But because when I was reading this book, and it was telling me how divine I am and how amazing I am and how awesome, and it was written in a very like old style language. And at the same time, I was gifted a Bible, a black cover Bible with my name, and my name was printed on it in small gold letters at the bottom. So, and I had never read the Bible. So I was finishing up this redback hardcover book telling me how amazing I am. And then I open up the Bible, and it's telling me how I'm not amazing at all, and that I am a servant of what is amazing. And then I get to the end of the redback book, and it's a Rosicrucians book. And I've been a conspiracy theorist for 30 years, so I know what Rosicrucians are. They're Satan worshipers. And I realized that it was the exact opposite of the Bible. And at the time, I was carrying around both of these books. So I had like the devil's book in one hand that I was finishing, and God's book in the other that I was starting. So once I got to the end, I realized what it was. I bound the book, and I hid it, and I'm gonna burn it and destroy it. But so I spent the next year and a half reading the Bible, and page one in the beginning, and then just every day in the morning I would make my coffee and I would stretch, do some exercises, do some stretching to get my day going, and I would just put the Bible in front of me on a pillow and I would read it. Next page, next chapter, just one and one. It took me about a year and a half, and I got to the end, and I was totally confused about everything on earth that I had been a part of, that I had witnessed, that I knew or thought I knew, and I had no idea what was happening. So I said a prayer to God that I needed to know. Like I needed to know. And I'm going to get because at 3:30 that morning, I was lifted off my bed, and my entire room shook, and this loud booming voice said, "God loves you." And then it dropped me, and I hit the bed, and I fell off onto the floor onto my knees, and I just prayed and was like, okay, got it. Like, now we're good. Now I get it. And I'm getting like, it was a lot. It was really heavy, but in a good way. Huh?
Do you remember the date?
Gosh, I could figure it out. I don't remember the exact date. I want to say it was maybe February, because shortly after that, I was listening to a podcast with Edward Dowd and what's her name, Emerald Robinson, and Edward Dowd, who wrote the book Cause Unknown, which I was reading, and all about COVID and the insurance actuaries and how many people were actually murdered from the shot, and like 40% increase in all told death across the world, or across the country. I mean, it's just terrible. But I was listening to a podcast with him, and he said before he wrote his book, he prayed to God for like the words, right? Like almost like Isaiah, right? Like, here I am, send me. So he prayed, and then he got inspired and he wrote his book. So I did that. after this, after my my moment awakening and
Yeah.
room, and then I prayed like for a voice, like just like Edward Dowd did, obviously praying to God, not to Edward. But and then the next morning, out of the blue, I've never talked to him before, but Clay Clark called me and
Wow.
was like, hey, because I had sent a couple videos, I'd sent some conspiracy stuff to the tour, but I'd never, like, I didn't know him, I didn't know anybody, I just kind of heard the text message. And I just started sending because I didn't know what to do. I was like, making videos. I was a filmmaker. So now I'm making like conspiracy films or like COVID warnings and like music videos of like Biden lying and everything. You know what I mean? I'm like, I don't know what to do. And then Clay, like I said, so I prayed, and then he called me the next morning and was like, we started talking. He asked me what I was doing, who I was. We got to know each other over the phone, and then he asked me to do a video for him, and I did, and it got, lots and lots of views, whatever, for the tour. And then he just invited me to the tour. So then I went, and the devil likes to stop you. So I got a lifetime ban from 3 rental car companies the morning I was supposed to leave for the Reawaken tour, and it was in Vegas at the time.
Wow.
Because they lied to me and they told me that they had a car and they didn't, and they owned three companies, and I was just like pointing out, and then I eventually got a lifetime ban from the companies. So, I didn't really know what to do. So I ended up, I didn't have much expendable cash at the time. It had been a few years since I had moved, and everything was just kind of collapsing. And then so I spent, the last bit of money I had, and I flew, last minute, last flight I could get to Vegas. And there backstage, I'm just kind of walking around, didn't know anybody, didn't, talk to Clay for 2 seconds, but he's obviously super busy in his thing. And then I'm sitting backstage. I sit down with Ivan Reichlin and Michael Jan, who I knew of them, but I didn't know them. And they were just talking, and I'm just sitting there shooting the breeze with those two guys. And then this lady sits down across the table next to Michael. She knew Michael. And I was thinking about this idea of like this off-grid satellite communication way that we could, because everyone's getting banned. COVID was a total lie. Everyone was getting shadow banned. Everyone was getting demonetized. No one could talk. No one could communicate the truth. So I kind of had this idea like, well, all these social media channels are like, they're limiting people. And then if you do lose Wi-Fi, like you're never going to be able to talk to them. They're going to disappear. So or never talk to your friends because the social media platforms would disappear. So I was thinking in my head about this platform with a satellite thing, whatever. So I'm like looking at Michael Jan, and I'm kind of talking to Ivan, and I'm like, hey, you know what we need to do? And I just blurt, we need a satellite social media platform where all of the influencers can be a part of it, but it needs to be owned by like one of us instead of by like some demon or some satanic worshiping, synagogue of Satan, whatever. And the woman who sat down next to Michael looks across the table at me and she says, I have that, but I need someone to run it. You interested in a job?
Wow.
And so I was hired by Tina from the Satellite Phone Store to take over Galileo, which is the satellite social media platform that connects to satellite devices. And now I'm working with Michael, Tom Renz, Clay Clark, Maria Z, Mel K, all these great people that we're bringing onto the platform. Jeffrey Prather. I mean, the list is long of all the people that we talk to, and that we're inviting. Mike Adams is a part, and Steve Quayle's a part, and it's like, so that's what I'm doing now. Now, like that whole journey led me to this moment now where I'm watching our country implode and communication be even more censored and harder to get than even during COVID. And now I have this platform, so we're out here just speaking the truth and getting in front of people and letting everyone know that there is good people out there, and the good word is out there, and we are providing it for you in a place that you can share it. So that's kind of the story of how I ended up here 15
Wow.
minutes later.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah, it was wild.
so your first reawaken was Vegas. There's about six
Yeah.
thousand people there.
Hmm.
Had you know before Clay called you? Did you know anything about the reawaken tour?
No, well, I mean, I had heard it, like I heard the name because I was listening at the time. I no longer do, but at the time I was listening to like Alex Jones for a little bit because through COVID he was actually speaking some truth. Since then he's a liar and it's really gross. But through COVID, he was speaking a lot of truths, and I guess Clay was on there with General Flynn at one point, and I think that's how I had gotten, 'cause Clay gave his phone number out,
Yeah.
so that's what I was like texting, not many, just a few like videos. I'd make a video and I'd text it to him like, I don't know what to do, kind of thing, and hey, maybe use this, or hey, look at this, check this out, just trying to like spread the whatever I could do. But yeah, before that, I didn't really know too much about it, but I had heard it, like I said.
Yeah. What was your experience like after seeing it for the first time or being there?
Yeah, man. I went to every single one after that. I became still to this day really good friends with Clay. I know all these people personally now, friends with them. I'm doing a lot of business with a lot of the people there. I've done things for them. They've done things for our company. The satellite phone store, which I work in kind of marketing, spokesman type stuff, and a little bit of advertising. We're doing some infomercial shoots here in a couple weeks. But for satellite phone store, we sponsor a lot of the people on the tour now. We sponsor them even now that the tour's over. We sponsor them and do shows with them. We are in the business of truth and information. So, I my takeaway from the Reawaken tour was the people mostly were great, right? There are a few psychos there, but and a few liars for sure. There's definitely a ton of people that lied. I mean, they just lie. You can just tell. They lied to Clay, they lied to us, they lied to everybody. But so the people were cool, and I love Clay Clark and what he's done, and his heart is genuine, and everything he does is for others. He's very much in service now. But nothing happened. That's the worst part. Like everything General Flynn said, like none of it came true. And I know General Flynn, like I've talked to him, like, we're going to do a show here in a week. I've talked to him, I've given him satellite information. I've given him gear, like all kinds of stuff. And nothing happened. Nothing Trump said happened. He totally lied to everybody. I mean, and I can't, I'm shocked now that there are still MAGA type people, which MAGA is the fourth and highest order of the Church of Satan. It's called Magus, but a short Magus term is MAGA. So MAGA actually is a level in the Church of Satan, the Church of Set. So this whole concept of it, has now been exposed to like where we were just lemmings. And I'm, whatever. I mean, I wasn't let off the cliff, and I certainly won't be. But I mean, like the concept I think was, hey, look at all these great people that are getting together and they're unhappy. Let's get in front of them, lead them to get this, orange windbag, the pedo in office. He'll claim to be even tougher than he was the first time, but then he'll totally sell out the entire country and he'll usher us into the mark of the beast system, because I full on believe now that Donald Trump, he is not the Antichrist, but the Bible says that the Antichrist will come. Many Antichrists have come, and that there is a whole system of ushering in this Antichrist system, this beast system. And, it's 100% obvious, clear, obvious to anyone that has the scales removed from their eyes, that not only is Donald Trump a devil worshiper who denounced Jesus, his entire family has denounced Christ, and his entire administration worshiped the devil. And none of them are Christian to the core. None at all. Because Christians don't bomb children. Period. Okay? That's it. You want to talk about whatever. I don't care. Christians don't murder children. They don't murder children. Okay? So they're hiding child rape. The Epstein files released from the DOJ, they're eating them. The DOJ released the files that said that our government is eating children while we're bombing children. 700,000 missing women and children in Palestine, in Gaza. Like, so there is not a Christian warmongering, because when I read the book of Enoch, I found out that all weapons and matters of war and mysticism and magic are from the fallen. It wasn't Jesus, it wasn't Moses, and it wasn't God that taught man weapons of war. It was the fallen angels, and the fallen angels serve the devil. So when you pick up a gun, when you put on your uniform and you go serve by murdering people in their backyard, which I did, I served for 10 years, nine and change. in the Marine Corps, OEF. But, you know, I mean, what did we do? We went to someone else's backyard. We kicked in their door in the middle of the night. And when they went to defend their family, we shot them in their living room, in their bedroom, in their pajamas. And then we went, oh, they were going for a gun. Yeah, no kidding. There's a dude with a mask on and a large rifle just kicked in my door where my children are sleeping. What am I going to do? I'm going to go for my gun too. Like, so, you know, it's all an illusion. It's all, you know, you know, the church is set. The entire administration, Donald Trump, Cash Patel, I mean, he worships blue elephants. What is that? That's not Christian. You worship elephants. They're blue. Okay. You know, Pete Hegseth has this whole like third temple thing. That's not a Christian idea, guys. I mean, wake up. It's not Christians that want to rebuild the third temple. Hello. It's all there in the book. It's not the Christians. Okay. Christians are not ushering in the Antichrist. We're not waiting for our next Messiah, right? We're terrified that Jesus is coming back because he's not coming back to be nice. He's coming back with a book and a flaming sword of judgment, of righteousness. And if you're not in the book, you're burning. So Jesus isn't coming back to be our friend. He's sick of us. He's tired. He's going to take a third of a third of a third. Those who fall, who are, you know, he's going to sneak them manna. That's what it says in Luke and James, right? He's going to sneak them manna and he's going to protect them while the entire earth burns. And it, you know, rightfully so, because we are, I mean, Benjamin Netanyahu calls us Big Satan and he calls himself Little Satan. Well, yeah, we act like Satan. Satan kills children. That's what we're doing. Our government is killing and eating children ritualistically, and everybody knows it. We've known it for 20 years, and here we are, just talking.
Yeah.
Not hanging, not tying millstones, not at least, not even arresting, not even retiring them. People continue to give them 40 to 50% of their income. And it's 70% if you want to include like all the taxes you pay on everything else. It's only 40% of your earned income, of your earnings that they take. And here you are funding the devil. And here we are, you know? So my thoughts on the Reawaken America tour are just that it was great and it came with great intentions, but the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And if your intentions stop when it becomes inconvenient, then, you know, God's going to send a fish to eat you. You try to go the wrong direction, you're going to get swallowed by a whale until you realize that, shoot, I need to go and do what I was tasked to do. I can't run away from this. But
so,
yeah, you know,
what's your message to get your name in the book?
Oh, I'm just in service now. You know, I mean, I don't know, man. There's something with the 144. Like it's a code. It's not necessarily a number of people in the tribes, right? Like the lost tribes of Judea, they didn't get lost. They converted to Christianity, right? Like the conversion is what mattered, right? And that's the grace. And like all of us are fallen. All of us are sinners, you know, and it's people perish for what? Lack of knowledge, right? So I think, you know, once you learn something, then you need to make a change. And I think that's how I think that's in the grace, right? Like, yeah, I picked up weapons of war and did terrible things for evil people. So I was part of it. I was used, but I didn't know. I was ignorant because no one had taught me that. I had no idea. There was no way. I was just given this hoorah speech and I'm 18 and it's like, we gotta defend your family and you're doing the, you know, all that, whatever they all say, all that lies. But like, once you find out, once you realize, well, now you got to put that down. Now you got to step away. Now you got to speak about it. And you got to tell people and you got to make a change. So I think, you know, I pray for forgiveness. I've been baptized, took my whole family to get baptized as soon as I found out. As soon as I had that experience, I actually went the next time I could, we went right away and got everyone, kids, even ex who doesn't really like me, she got it. So like so I think, yeah, that's how you can get back in the book. To get in the book is, you know, be the change you want to see in the world. And that means, you know, be a representation of your creator. You are created in the likeness of God, And God sent you here for a purpose, a mission. You are chosen to be here right now. You could have been born 100 years ago. You could have been born 500 years ago. You could have walked with Jesus. Maybe. Why not? You could have. There's been people. I mean, you could be born 100 years from now. I mean, but you weren't. You're born right now. And not only were you born right now, you're at the age of awakening and awareness and knowledge. You're at the age of influence and change. You're at the leadership place. You're not a child. You're not elderly. You're it. We're it. This is it. Like, God is testing all of us. This is all just one big test. And that's what free will is all about. And I think the way to get in the book is just to be of service and be loud. If you can be loud, be loud. If you can make a change, make the change. If you could just need to be silent and say your prayers at night and take care of your family, then that's what you need to do too. But I think being in service is how, you get through this. Right. Service to God, not for yourself. But yeah.
Do you have a go-to verse or a life verse that really stands by for you?
I don't know. I mean, I like the Isaiah, like, here I am, send me, Lord. I like that, but that's scary. Yeah. You don't know what God's gonna send you to do, but it's good. But I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't say that I have one. I like the Lord's Prayer. I say that a lot. I say that with my kid. We do that and with meaning, because that's important. And the Bible says if you don't know what else to say, you should say that. So, and I've stopped asking. I don't think we should ask for anything. I don't want to ask for anything anymore. I don't want, I mean, God knows what I want. He also knows what I need. He knows what I'm doing. He's tasked me with all of it. So it's like, dear God, please make my business successful. That just seems like so fake. It's like, yeah, God will make your business successful if it's supposed to be successful. But how about just, dear God, thank you for today, for life, for water, for air, for the dog, for chicken eggs, for meat, for broccoli. Thanks for all of it. I said this to Clay actually the other day. And I don't mean it to be condescending in any way, shape, or form, and because I kind of feel bad for God. Like, and not that I have to feel bad for God because I'm not sympathizing, I don't need to. He's way more than me. But like, in a way that his most beloved warrior, his most beloved angel, right, turned on him. And then he made and put Adam and Eve in the garden. And then not only did the most beloved turn on him, then a third of his soldiers turned on him, betrayed him. And then he made these humans and he put them down there and he gave them all stuff. And he's like, all right, just don't do this. And then they betrayed him. And then, so he casts them out and then, he punishes them, thorns and thistles, blah, blah, blah. You got to work. You got to till the soil. Women, you're going to feel the pains. That's your curse. Sends them out. And then then the world turns on him. So then he comes back. So it's like, I look at it like a child, like not God, like we're a child, obviously, then God's the ultimate father. But it's like, I feel bad in a way that's like, we all suck. Like we've totally let down the Most High, the creator of everything, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end. Like, and we just, and now you look at it, it's like, just like a child. At first, he told you, hey, don't touch the stove. It's hot. Stop. Right? Okay, great. Don't eat the thing, right? Then we got to eat it. So then he punishes him. And then he writes it down. Here, I told you, you didn't listen. So I wrote it down. Here it is. It's don't do this. Don't do that. It's 10 things. That's it. 10. Don't do 10 things. You can't do 10 things. Can't not do 10 things. So I wrote it down, right? And then what? Then he turned on him again. So he does his thing. And then, so first I told you, then I wrote it down. Well, now I have to demonstrate it. Okay, here I am. This is how you do it. Walk like me. Be like me. Follow me. Okay, I am your shepherd. You are sheep. Here we go. And then he showed him. What did he do? We killed him. We killed God, on earth as man. They tortured and then, so it's like, now, I mean, that's 3 strikes, you're out, bro. First I told you, then I wrote it down, then I showed you, you messed it up. Now I'm coming back and I'm going to punish you. I'm done. And I feel bad in a way, like I said, I feel bad for God in a way that he's done all this for everybody, and people just can't stop effing him over. Like the angels can't stop, and the his most love can't stop. He gives power and influence to these people, and he shows signs and wonders, and he performs miracles all the time. And it's like everyone's life is a miracle because science has not been able to build a brain, build a human. They've been able to like clone or manipulate or alter, but they can't create. Where's the science animal they created? Where's the say they don't create anything? There's only one creator. And when you take the creator out of things like Hollywood, you end up with just duplication, right? And now like Hollywood's not even making any new movies. They have no creativity because they are sans the creator. They're an evil, demonic, empty place. So all they do, what do they do? They just remake and redo or splice together or take, a movie that's just filled with movie lines of old movies when they had, when there were still some people with God in it. So like, I feel bad in a way for God because he's like done all this great stuff for you. And it's like for all of us. And we just can't stop killing his animals and polluting his planet and like destroying and cursing him and like carving a statue and then bowing down to it, or like Trump making a statue out of gold of himself. I mean, that's just like clearly straight out of the Babylonian Canaanite, like nightmarish self-worship and idolatry. And the president of the United States is here doing it, with all these Christians in the name of Christians and under the name of God and with God. Like, you know how many times God's name was invoked on the Reawaken America tour by these people? I mean, they are the ones that said it. They are the ones, Christians got to come vote for us, about this thing. I mean, these are so like, I don't know. Like, I mean, if God were like my friend and his entire family burned him and turned on him and dismissed him, it'd be like, I feel bad for you, bud. Like so it's like in a way, I kind of feel bad, just because God's done all this great stuff for us and people just can't stop effing him over. So it's like, but he wins in the end. So it's like, you're not really getting one over on God, you're just destroying yourself, because I think this is level one, just like video games, right? You do things, and that's what free will is all about. I think, that there's a reason. Like, why test everybody if you're just going to throw them away and burn them? Seems like a waste. Like, why put everyone through this? Why tempt them with the fruit? Why tempt these, why punish them if you were just going to destroy them and burn them at the end? There's no sense in punishment. Just let them all go. Like, oh, you're all going to burn in anyway at the end. So just do what you want. Have fun. Cool. Like, why would you put so much time and effort into the building and the construction and the wholeness and the goodness if you were just going to throw it away at the end? You wouldn't. You don't make a beautiful dinner just to throw it away. You make it to eat it, right? You make it because it has a purpose. It has something else next. And I feel like this whole test is just level one, and that soon, once if you pass by not drinking children's blood or murdering your neighbors or coveting or, false witnesses and all this kind of, idolatry, all these things. If you pass, then you get to level two, right? Layers of heaven. That's what the old Bibles talk about. There's a Bible here from the 1860s. There's one over there from like the 1500s. And they all talk about the firmament and the layers of heaven, layers above, layers below. There's layers. I mean, this used to be kind of common knowledge, but, it's been lost now. But I feel like that's what it, that it's all a test, and that, we've really let him down. So I'm just trying to not let him down anymore. I'm just going to try to be the one that, and I apologize for everything I've done. And I've accepted the things that I've done. And if someone comes to my door to hurt my children, then I will do them again. But until then, I'm just going to sit here and smile sweetly and raise chickens and talk about all the good works that God has done for you and me and everybody else out here. So,
I don't know. But there is hope and there is goodness. And there are people that are actually following God.
Yeah. They're just not in charge of anything.
Right.
Yeah. Like, the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's a District of Columbia. Columbia is the demon ISIS. Yeah. So like Columbia, like DC is, pentagrams and obelisks, and, obelisk is Satan's, right? That's the whole point of an obelisk. So you see those all over the world. The Statue of Liberty is literally a picture of Lucifer with a chain around
Yeah.
his ankle, and he's holding the illuminated one, and the seven horns, or the 10 horns, and all that, like the 10 spikes. So it's like it's a man in a dress. Obviously, it's a man in a dress. It looks like the image of Lucifer's leading his army. That giant painting.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, I believe you, and that's who I'm. That's what we're doing. That's who I'm talking to. That's what I'm trying to do. And even people that don't have Jesus, or maybe have, I mean, everybody has Jesus, they just don't know it yet.
Right.
Even the people that don't know it, if I just speak a few words, I've gifted Bibles now, same as me. Like, I got gifted a Bible and it changed my life,
Yeah.
by someone who wasn't really a big fan of mine either at the time. So like they did it, for that reason. And so I try to do that same thing and just, bless people and give money to the homeless, because what money is just fake anyway. So, but yeah, I agree with you. There's a lot of people, and especially now, right? I mean, the scales are being removed. People are seeing, when Donald Trump posts a picture of himself as Jesus and builds a golden statue of himself, and there's children being bombed everywhere, and they're hiding the torture rape list of all of our politicians, and everyone's loyal to, Acts 7:43, those who picked up the tabernacle of their god Moloch and the star of their god Remph. Like, you're witnessing the evil, biblical evils being played out in real time. And but at the same time, because of that, yeah, people are kind of snapping snapping straight, I guess, is, I don't even know how to put it, but they're like, I've seen a lot of people come into Christ, a lot of my friends, a lot of people I never would have expected, myself included, to just be this like knowing, and this like I know, right? Like, it's not really even faith for me, so it's kind of like cheating. Like, I had an experience, I asked for an experience, I asked for an answer, and I had an experience. That's an answer. So like, it's kind of like I know, and now I'm terrified now because now I know. But there's a lot of people that are turning to faith right now, because what they do know is that the people that they thought were good are truly, truly evil, the most evil people on earth.
Yeah.
So I think that's just a wake up, and then that's part of it, right? People will flee the church at the end. That's what Revelation says, right? The warnings to the Church of Sardis and Church of Philadelphia, and it's like all these letters that are like, hey, you know, narrow is the path and hard is the way, right? It's
Right.
like, or what is it, like, wide is the path and easy is the way to temptation, like narrow, and it's like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of people that are waking up and going, yeah, I need to turn off Netflix because it's an evil Babylonian system that programs you. I need to turn off, mainstream media because it's television and it's programming you with channeling. They're channeling a program to tell you a vision while you sit at home and eat cricket protein in your pizza crust.
Yes.
Cricket protein is just ground up crickets, and that's in all Domino's and everybody, Papa John's, all those terrible pizza places. They all have ground up cockroach and bugs
Wow.
in them now. And eating people, right? Clowns are demons, right? And the Red Shoe Club is sacrificing children. So when a clown in red shoes pulls a child out of a Happy Meal bag and then laughs about it, and then the logo is billion served, or the slogan is billion served, and they have contract, and that company has contracts with hospitals, but they don't serve food in the hospitals. What do you have a contract with a hospital for? So there's just like a lot of things. I think a lot of people are waking up going, man, this is all one big satanic ritual, and I need to get out of it, because sitting on the couch being programmed and eating human meat is a guaranteed path. It's lukewarm. It's a guaranteed one trip to hell, and that's just not cool for anybody. I don't want anyone to go to hell.
No.
Well, minus like Hillary or maybe even Trump now, because he's just a pig. But I don't, because it's not up to me. I'm not the judge. I am the judged, just like
Right.
everybody else. So I have my opinions about it, what I think is right and wrong. But to your point, it's so obvious now. Like,
Yeah.
the people that are not waking up don't want to. That's
And
all.
once you're awake, you can't unsee what you know. Like your experiences,
Yeah.
that's a radical encounter. You can't undo that.
Yeah, I'd never go back. I
Yeah.
don't care. I mean, guillotine me, whatever, God forbid. I'm not just saying I want to be tortured or stuff, but like, come for me.
Yeah.
I'm till the dying day. And you know what? When I die, that's when God wants me to die. I'm not even afraid of death. I'm not even afraid because you could die tomorrow. You could have died 10 years ago. God will end you when you are done or
Yes.
when he's given up on you.
Yeah.
Right. And then was like, well, what about children and childhood leukemia? Well, I don't know. They inject them with that. So I don't believe that that's like God doing that. I think when you're a newborn baby and they stick you full of vitamin K and then you get 50 shots before you're 11 or 70 shots before you're 11, that's not God giving children childhood leukemia, bro. That's the pharmakia demon and, the white horse,
Yeah.
right? The white horse. What's the white horse? I mean, the white horse is a rider in all white, okay, like a white lab coat
Mm-hmm.
with a bow and
Mm-hmm.
an arrow. But a bow translated in Greek is needle, and they used to put poison on the tips of the bows to kill the animals. So the white horse is a man in a white lab coat with a poison tip syringe, poison tip needle. I think COVID was the white horse.
Oh yeah.
COVID backwards DVOX, certificate of vaccination ID, AI, COVID 19, COVID AI, 19 AI. So it's like, I think we went through that. And what's next? The red horse. Well, we're in war. We're in an illegal war. Right. And then what happens? Well, then you have hyperinflation in the black horse and you have a lack of resources. Well, that's already happening. We ran out of urea now. They bombed 7 out of the 10 trains that make nitrogen for fertilizer. We're living off last year's supplies. Mike Adams reports on it all the time. So we're out of food for planting season next year. So right now, 2027, does not look good for, I don't know, 70% of the world's population that relies on mass quantities of grain and rice to survive. And that doesn't look good for you who buy, you and me who buy stuff off the shelf that's made. Well, I don't really do that much anymore, but that's made with, I buy things that grow. If it doesn't grow, it doesn't have a face, I don't eat it. But, the processing of all of these products is what gives people their breads and their cereals and all this other kind of stuff. But that's going to run out. So there's your black horse, there's your hyperinflation. And then what follows after a poison jab, a red war, and famine? Yeah, death and death that follows. So the pale horse. I think we're already in the white horse. I think we are on our way to the red rider with the flaming sword, because that's so. But yeah, to your point, I'll never go back. It's impossible. In
Yeah.
fact, I'll only get even stronger, louder, more bold. Because when God's done with me, so be it. I just hope I made him proud. And then I wake up and he's got a spaceship and a laser gun for me, and I got to go fight demons on another realm. Then so be it. Right.
Yeah.
And then I'll just go do that and I'll see you there. But, in the meantime, yeah, there's no going back, man. There's no going. What are you going to go back to? What am I going to do? Sit down and watch cable? Sit down and listen to hip hop music and talking about, butt cracks and what am I going to do? Eat McDonald's? I mean, why? I would
Wow.
never. It's so foreign to me. That's like an alien. And I see people, they're sick. Like they're sick because of their consuming sickness,
Mhm.
sickness in their food, sickness in their visions, sickness in their mind, sickness in their ideas, because, the answer is in the book. The answer is in the book. That's how you get healthy. You eat clean, you drink water, you say your prayers, you align with your creator, and you create. And that's what it's all about. But yeah, there's no going back, man. No going back. That's what all the swords are for, just in case.
Well, tell us just take us out with tell us a little bit about Galileo.
Yeah, thanks, man. So you can go to satnews123.com or Galileo, Galileo. We are a satellite social media platform. Like I said, we are owned by a Christian and veterans and good, honest Americans. We work with all the great, influential news sources is what I call them. I don't like the term influencers, but influential news sources like Michael Yon, Clay Clark, Mike Adams, Maria Z, Mel K, Tom Renz, like all these great people. And we post emergency alerts that go right to your phone. So if there was ever a blackout, if there's a storm coming, you can get those alerts. You can get all the information from all these great people, no matter where they're shadow banned or cut off from. And then, like I said, when it does go dark, which it will, and when they do grid down scenarios, which they will, will be the only ones that are up because we connect to a satellite device. So if you have a satellite device like a bivy stick or a sat phone, then we will connect. Our app will turn your phone and will connect through Bluetooth to that satellite device, and then you can communicate with people off grid. And I'll plug one more thing. If you go to Galileo Studios or seekanddestroys.com, seekanddestroys.com. That's a new episodic. It's an 8-episode series that we're releasing. I put out number 1 for free for everybody. It's 30 minutes, and it's basically what I think is coming, or what I know. And the funny thing is I wrote it 10 years ago. So 10 years ago, and a lot of the things that are in it now are coming true, but I made it with AI because I used to work in films, and Hollywood said no to this project 10 years ago. So I'm able to do it now with just some of my friends doing voiceovers, and there's some people from Stranger Things and X-Men and Twilight are in there. And then I got like a cool list of influencers and new kind of and actors and stuff that are going to be in episode 2 and 3 and the following episodes. So that's what we're doing now with that, is kind of an awareness to everybody. I know everyone gets tired of hearing it sometimes. So I figured people like watching things, so we'll just show them, right? And we'll show them what it's about. So you can take 30 minutes and watch the episode for free at Galileo Studios or seekanddestroys.com. And yeah, man, that's what we've been doing. Just trying to spread the word. And the Lord's Prayer's in that too, just FYI. So
great. Yeah. Well, Brett, thank you for getting on the Ark. And I really enjoyed talking with you. Thank you for watching Get on the Ark. A couple things you can do to help us. One, like, subscribe, and hit the bell button. We go live every day at 5 p.m. Eastern. So we have a different episode every day. And if you like what you saw and you want to share with somebody, please share this video with someone that you know that needs to hear it, and let God do his thing. And
can I say one more thing?
Yeah, man.
I just want to say, because I say this on podcasts a lot, and I like that you say, on the Ark. I like the show name. But I always say that Noah built his ark in the sunshine, not in the rain. So right now, if you are in a golden era that they keep telling us that it's a golden age, yeah, well, it's not, but whatever. But it's not raining yet. It hasn't started raining, or the clouds are getting dark. You can definitely see that, but the sun is still shining. So I encourage everyone to build your ark now, because once it starts raining, it's too late. So, yes. And I just wanted to add that because I like your show name.
Yes, and so and part of building the Ark is to have communication with satellites. So go to what's the website again?
You go to satnews123.com, SATNEWS 123.com, and then there's just a sign up page there. We have a free version. Or you can, if you have a satellite device, you can sign up and we can attach to it. Or if you want a satellite device, we got a lot of good deals and affiliate programs with satellite phone store and stuff. So yeah, it's all right there on the website, satnews123.com.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Brett.
Thanks for watching, Jay, brother.
Until next time.
All right.
Dude, thank you, man.